The class of 2014. High school powers, Whitney Young out of Chicago, taking on Apple Valley from Minnesota. Next. Just a few miles south of Minnesota's state capital, welcome to the Geico ESPN High School Showcase. From Apple Valley High School near the Twin Cities, it's the Eagles of Apple Valley hosting the Dolphins of Whitney Young from outside of Chicago. These teams feature two of the top 4 high school seniors in the nation. They're headed to Duke to play for Coach K, who's in attendance tonight. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Minnesota alongside my partner, ESPN's National Director of Recruiting, Paul Biancardi. I'm Clay Matvick. And Paul, a unique opportunity for Duke basketball fans tonight. They get to look into the crystal ball.
And we have a special matchup tonight. Jahlil, Okafor, and Tyus Jones, their opponents. Next year, they'll be teammates at Duke. Who will win the Battle of the Stars? The #1 player in the country or the #1 point guard? This is going to be exciting.
Yes, it is. Here are the players to watch for. Young and Jones, they've known each other since the 3rd grade.
The #1 player in the nation, Jahlil Okafor. He's the best and most complete low-post big man in the class. He owns all the tools to dominate the game in the paint. And the #1 point guard in the nation, Tyus Jones. He makes the game easy for his teammates. When he's not controlling the action, he can score with runners and floaters in the lane. A high-level decision maker, also headed to Duke.
There you see Okafor and Jones. Jones averaging 28 points per game. Okafor averaging 20 points per game to go along with 8 rebounds. Here are the starters for Whitney Young. They feature 3 senior Division I signees: Okafor, Miles Reynolds, who's headed to St. Louis, and Paul White on his way to Georgetown. Apple Valley on a 35-game winning streak, led by Jones, but Gary Trent Jr., the son of former NBA guard Gary Trent, he's a presence, as is 6'11" post Brock Bertram, getting a lot of Division I attention himself. So here we go, a packed house at Apple Valley High School. The Eagles of Apple Valley in their home white uniforms tonight. Whitney Young in road orange. And right away you can see the ominous presence of Jahlil Okafor ready to take the opening tip with Brock Bertram of Apple Valley. And Apple Valley controls the opening tip. And what do you expect here tonight, Paul?
Well, for Apple Valley, they're going to have to double the post and put Jahlil Okafor in ball screens and make him run the floor. For Whitney Young, they're going to have to try to find a way to control and contain the best point guard in the nation, Tyus Jones.
First shot, no good for Broxton of Apple Valley. Here comes Whitney Young for the first time. There's Paul White, skip pass across, and there's Tyus Jones, those quick hands. He's got his first steal. Can't finish, got his own miss. Now he'll pull it back out.
You know, he led the Nike EYBL in points, assists, and steals. One of the best summer leagues in the nation. He got that steal quick, and he got up quick.
And he's so smart, as you said before, makes everybody around him better, and it leads to points as Brock Bertram gives Apple Valley the early lead.
Nice pass by Dennis Austin. Just a little shovel pass inside to the big fella. Now for Whitney Young, they're going to have to get some paint touches and paint scores. They can't settle for the outside shot.
It's tied up on the block. Coming away with it is Okafor. Got his own miss. Missed the putback. Not once, but twice.
And he missed the shot because he pulled out of the shot. You'll see on the replay, he was fading away on the miss.
There's a block for White. Apple Valley keeps it alive. There's Gary Trent Jr. His first field goal attempt goes down.
A real good-looking freshman, Gary Trent Jr., his dad, Gary Trent Sr., the Shaq of the MAC at Ohio University back in the 90s.
Gary Trent Jr., 6'3", just a freshman, has size 14 feet. That says he's going to grow even more.
I like his stroke from the outside. I like his composure. He belongs in this atmosphere as a freshman.
3 ball on the way for Reynolds is off the mark. And Whitney Young still scoreless.
See Jones with the throw-ahead pass. Anytime somebody's open, Tyus Jones is going to find his teammates.
There's Bertram again. Nifty pass from Dennis Austin. It's 6-0.
Austin with a little penetration inside the lane. The help comes up. Austin with the dump off. Big fella finishes.
Apple Valley 30-1 last year, won the Class 4A state title in Minnesota.
And they come out in the 2-3 zone. Apple Valley plays a lot of zone. Two reasons tonight. They are long, and second of all, they want to neutralize Okafor inside.
Erwin Henry, the senior, hits her three, and Whitney Young is finally off the schneid.
If they can be selective, Whitney Young, in their three-point shooting and open up that zone a little bit, they'll have a better chance to get it to the high post and the low post.
Some rule differences that we need to point out tonight. Most significantly, Minnesota's state high school rules, 2 18-minute halves as compared to 4 8-minute quarters, and there is no shot clock in Minnesota.
So it's a little longer game for Whitney Young, who's used to 4 8-minute quarters, and also the timeouts in between quarters now are eliminated with the 18-minute halves.
They drop it down to Okafor, battling with Bertram. Nice move to create some space, and he gets his first two.
You see Okafor catching the ball, locating the defense, and spinning away from the defense along the baseline. He does an excellent job of slowing down in the post and finishing.
Everybody getting a touch for Apple Valley, moving in. Trent Jr. out of bounds, and this is going to belong to the Eagles. There's Okafor. We said it before, Coach K is in attendance here tonight. What is he hoping to see here tonight from his two future stars?
That nobody gets hurt. That's number one. And obviously he wants them to perform at a high level. I'm sure he doesn't have a rooting interest in this game, but more than anything wants his guys to play well and not get hurt.
His top assistant, Jeff Capel, also here tonight. Just underway in Apple Valley. 6-5, the Eagles on top.
And Jeff Capel's done a great job coming back to Duke. He'll be a head coach again someday in college basketball.
On the run, this is Anthony Mosley to Okafor, and a little out of control, turns it over.
Yeah, that's not his game, to play fast and handle the basketball, even though it was in the painted area. Right now, he's more comfortable and confident in the half-court set with his back to the basket.
With that said, a lot of college recruiters and NBA scouts have said he's the most polished high school center they've ever seen.
Well, I don't know about ever, but certainly in a long time. He has the hands, the footwork. Austin with a nice basket inside. Okafor has the complete package when it comes to low post offense.
Okafor young, too, for a senior. He'll turn 18 this Sunday. Turnaround jumper from Paul White at the free throw line goes down.
Paul White's headed to Georgetown, part of a very strong class. The JT3 the third. White has the versatility, the scoring ability, passing, ball handling. It's going to be a good one at Georgetown once he gets consistent.
Three-pointer off the mark for Jones. He's still scoreless, but he comes up with another turnover. He'll take it to the rack. The floater goes off. And Reynolds, who's headed to St. Louis, starts it back. The pass to Henry, nifty move to get it to go down. Erwin Henry with 5. And Whitney Young now in front, 9-8.
They're going to go up and down. That would favor Apple Valley and Tyus Jones. He wants to play a fast, up-tempo game.
Gary Trent for 3. He's got 5 now.
In his first start as a freshman against De La Salle, he had 18 points. That's a freshman who's not afraid of the moment.
Again, learned a lot from his dad about the game. There is White off the heel, backside rebound, Dennis Austin. And quickly into the hands of the star point guard, Tyus Jones. Austin in the paint, and he traveled.
You see how quickly Apple Valley pushes the basketball. Big fella Okafor in the post, catches it, locates the defense in the middle, spins baseline, good footwork, good finish.
Geico ESPN High School Basketball Showcase is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Jahlil Okafor, the #1 player in the country with a 7-foot, 5-inch wingspan, Paul.
And he uses that wingspan on the defensive end to challenge and change shots. Sometimes he blocks shots as well. You see him in the low post, almost triple teamed. Goes in, misses the layup. Again, great effort. You see that last shot, he's too straight up. He's not on balance. He's almost pulling out of the shot. When you're a big guy, you have to have balance in the post, and you have to play low and finish high.
Right now, his team is down a couple of points to Tyus Jones in Apple Valley with 12:32 to go in the first half. And there is Okafor. He's got 2 points so far, averages 20 points. Also 8 rebounds per game. He's on his way to Duke. And the free throw shooting number that you see there, that's an element of his game that has shown some improvement this year.
Much improved. And also his body, it's transformed. Used to be a little heavier, fleshier. Now he's tight and toned. Works out all the time, watches what he eats.
Another steal for Jones, and he's got the bucket, his first 2 points.
Tyus Jones does an unbelievable job of anticipating passing lanes. Now, he's not a great on-ball defender, and he'll be the first one to tell you, but off the ball, he anticipates very well.
Okafor quickly double-teamed, and he's a very good passer. Got it to White, and the and one.
Folks, all I can tell you is when you're double and triple teamed in the low post, and guys are hanging all over you, look at Okafor. He catches it, looks middle right away. There's a double team. Paul White rolls the post against the zone. Great pass, great finish by Paul White, headed to Georgetown. Okafor is an unselfish big man. When you throw it into the post to him, it's not one of those guys who's always looking to score. He likes to survey the defense and then make the right decision.
And when we were talking with Tyrone Slaughter today about Okafor, one of the things he talked about more than anything almost was his intellect. He's got a 3.5 GPA. His favorite subject is literature. And you can see that he is a very smart basketball player out on the floor.
And it's hard to be smart when you're a post guy. You don't get the basketball a lot.
There's your 3 ball from Christensen.
Okafor's really developed his IQ from Don Showalter in USA Basketball. He played for Billy Donovan and Shaka Smart in the U19s. So he's had a lot of great coaching beside Coach Slaughter.
Here's Henry for 3.
Henry's got that nice looking lefty stroke. That could bring Apple Valley right out of the zone.
That's his second 3, and it's a 2-point game.
And if you're Apple Valley, now you got to shade to that side of the floor, not allow Henry clean looks.
Slaughter says they haven't played a lot of zone in recent years.
Well, he doesn't want to play zone, but he does have a big team and a long team. And it keeps Okafor close to the basket, and it eliminates him defending ball screens.
See if they can get some points off that Apple Valley turnover. Another triple on the way, no good for Reynolds. Reynolds still looking for his first points. That's off the mark for Trent Jr. And here comes Paul White, the 6'9" senior. Okafor on the baseline, and he stuffs it in.
Love the recognition by Paul White. He slowed down on his dribble, waited for Okafor to fill the lane, and got the ball to the big fella.
ESPN 100 small forward. Georgetown signee.
That shows you the versatility of Paul White. Handling, passing, the open floor.
In and out for Cam Kirksey, 6'5" sophomore for Apple Valley. Reynolds off the window and down.
A good-looking, all-around prospect headed to St. Louis to play for Jim Cruz. They got a good one with Miles Reynolds. A guy who's a two-way player, a shooter, a facilitator, and a good on-ball defender.
Gives Whitney Young a 7-0 run here, 18-16 with even 10 minutes to go in the first half. Trent, fall away, a little short. Okafor trying to get the rebound, taken away by Kirksey. Nice pass inside, and Trent Jr. puts in another 2. Like a Gary Trent Jr. here in the first half.
You know, right now, just a freshman, not really on the scouting report. In the future, he will be the scouting report for Apple Valley. And sometimes when you're a freshman, people don't know who you are. Sometimes they don't respect you, and you get some free looks at the basket.
Reynolds, no. In transition, head up, Jones, pass. A lot of the reach of Trent Jr., and it's an Apple Valley give back. All the way to the 10, Henry can't finish. Mosley keeps it alive. Here's Okafor, look out below.
Apple Valley has to get back in defensive transition and protect the rim as a unit.
Another Apple Valley turnover. They're coming in bunches now, but there's a give back for Whitney Young. And we've got a timeout on the floor with 8:57 to go in the half.
Well, anytime the #1 player in the nation, Jahlil Okafor, gets close to the basket, it's going to be a jam. Whitney Young up 2.
Treats you to a college hoops doubleheader on Saturday. First at 3:15, the Fighting Irish on the road to face the Hoosiers. Then at 5:15, Julius Randle leading the Wildcats against Marcus Page and the Tar Heels. ESPN, the home court of college hoops, Saturday at 3:15 and 5:15. Both games also live on Watch ESPN. 20-18, Whitney Young out of Chicago. 2-point lead on Apple Valley of Minnesota. Zach Goring in his 5th year as the head coach at Apple Valley, a 1995 Apple Valley grad. He was a terrific point guard in his own right. Was Apple Valley's all-time assist leader until Jones broke that record last year. And he has been lucky to have Tyus Jones as a starter for him all 5 years he's been the head coach. And his counterpart tonight, Tyrone Slaughter, in his 10th season, won an Illinois 4A state title in 2009 when Chris Colvin was on the team. Marcus Jordan was on that squad. He is definitely a proven coach, Paul.
2 proven coaches here tonight, but really first-class people as well. When you get a chance to meet them off the floor and know what they're all about. You know, Coach Goring yesterday at practice, before practice, he says, I'll be there a little late. I got to finish teaching my class. So, these guys are great influences and role models for these players.
Okafor just plucked his 4th rebound. Whitney Young in the orange uniforms in the front court. Reynolds dumps it into the corner for Paul White. White moves in, jump shot, falls right in.
That's a tough shot, that baseline floater. Nice job by Whitney Young of attacking the ball. You want to go to the short corner, the middle, against the 2-3 zone.
It's an 11-2 run for Whitney Young. Dennis Austin.
And Austin's real difficult right in that middle of that zone. There he is.
Austin, nice move. The left hand can't finish. Bertram, the putback, no, and Okafor another board.
Austin's dangerous inside. He's crafty. He can score against bigger guys. 23 in the white. Good looking prospect with some wide shoulders.
Here's Jahlil Okafor.
See, right now Whitney Young has 5 guys out behind the 3-point line. That's not good. They got to get paint touches and paint scores to win this game.
Tyrone Slaughter calling the timeout with 7:44 to go here in the first half. Let's take a look at what Okafor has done here tonight.
When he stays close to the basket, he can dominate the game. Does a great job of reading the defense on the middle side of the floor and spinning baseline. That time you saw him triple team. He has great vision to make the pass, running the floor better. And once he gets close to the basket, he can finish and or get fouled.
He's got 6 points, 5 rebounds tonight. Tyus Jones, his future teammate, a couple of points, but he does have 3 steals.
Yeah, the offense for Apple Valley hasn't been really smooth right now and fluid.
There you see Jahlil Okafor, the #1 player in the country according to Recruiting Nation.
And you see tremendous hands, heart, and footwork. You can't coach those things. You either have those or you don't. Okafor has all 3.
7:35 to go here in the first half. 2 halves in Minnesota basketball as opposed to 4 8-minute quarters, which most states play. Here's a 3-pointer on the way, and it sails out of bounds. Missed everything, did Miles Reynolds.
I like the pass by Okafor. I don't like the shot by Miles Reynolds. A little quick. There's no shot clock here tonight. Let's get ball reversal, and then Okafor can dive to the low block and get him the ball inside.
Reynolds, the 57th best point guard in the 2014 class, according to Recruiting Nation. Jordan Bolton, his first field goal attempt tonight. The backup 2 guard hits a 3 for Apple Valley.
Seems like each team's settling a little bit for that 3-point shot. As soon as young players see zone, they think jump shot. They got to think inside. You can gap the zone with dribble penetration.
Mosley, his 3, as Whitney Young answers back.
I guess as long as they keep going in, it's okay.
He is the transfer from Providence St. Mel in Chicago.
You don't want to fall in love with the 3-point shot, though, against the zone, because it really can come back to hurt you. That's where you want to attack it, in the middle.
Kick it back out. Tyus Jones inside again to Austin, and there's Okafor, and he got a piece.
Great pass, though, by Tyus Jones. It went inside out. Jones got it back to Austin inside. That was a good attack.
Anthony Mosley slicing. Kick it out back on the perimeter. Coming up on 6 minutes to go in the first half.
You want to have ball movement and player movement against the zone.
Baseline move, White. Got it to go. Paul White leads everybody with 8 points. And Okafor looking for the foul, got the basket, no whistle. Or excuse me, Jones got the basket, but there was some contact inside. Okafor wanted a foul.
Yeah, him and his future teammate at Duke, Jahlil Okafor, they met up in the air a little bit. Jones, great body control. And he's a little bit stronger than people give him credit for. He's been working out in the weight room.
ESPN brings you a primetime NBA doubleheader Friday night. Kobe, 8 o'clock, taking on Oklahoma City. 10:30 Eastern, the Rockets and the Warriors. NBA Friday presented by State Farm. It all starts with Kia NBA Countdown at 7 on ESPN. Both games also live on Watch ESPN. Whitney Young, 27-23 on top of Apple Valley here with 5:30 to go in the first half. Okafor and Jones both headed to Duke, squaring off tonight in our high school showcase presented by Geico. And there's a foul. It's going to send Gary Trent Jr. to the free throw line.
Good patience against the zone by Whitney Young. Guys were semi-open. They didn't look to shoot the ball right away. Watch the ball movement. It went to the right side. Skip pass to the left side. Little drive and dump down. That possession had a lot of ball reversals. That's how the defense will shift, and then you can pick it apart.
Beg your pardon, Okafor to the line, and we talked about his free throw shooting improving. Not indicative there, but 84%, pretty good number going down here for him in the early going of the year.
And the great post players are going to get 25% of their points from the free throw line. So he has to become a good free throw shooter.
He's got 7 points now.
With the way he plays the game and the physicality that he brings to the game, he's going to be at the foul line.
His dad, Chuck, is on the coaching staff. Of course, his dad played college basketball, too.
We got Tyus Jones now on the baseline against the zone. There he is underneath.
Takeaway for Erwin Henry.
It's hard for Apple Valley to see through the inside of that zone. Paul White, 6'8", Okafor, 6'10".
Reynolds, Miles Reynolds now with 4 points.
A very, very good opportunistic player, Miles Reynolds. Headed to play for the Billikens.
He used to work in that city.
I did for a year with Coach Majerus. Tragic to see him pass away. And Jim Cruz has done an outstanding job taking over for him. The Shabitz Arena, one of the best facilities in the nation.
Apple Valley has called a timeout. They're down 7 now with 4:32 to go here in the first half. Again, 2 18-minute halves in this game tonight. Well, teams with 3 timeouts remaining here in the first half. Tyus Jones, the #1 point guard in the nation in the class of 2014.
His vision, it's incredible. He knows where everyone is on the court, and he understands when and how to get him the basketball. He also can score the basketball when he sees a lane. He has the runner, the floater. He understands when to pull up and how to do so. An improved three-point shooter behind a pick and roll. He has college range right now. The most complete point guard in the nation from an offensive standpoint.
Minnesota's Gatorade Player of the Year the last 2 seasons. 26 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists in the state title game last March, which also says that he brings his A game when the stage is the brightest.
His coach, Zach Goring, calls him the closer. You know, when the game's on the line and when it's crunch time, Tyus Jones delivers.
There's Zach Goring. His team down 7. Gary Trent Jr. from the outside. Left it short. Ball's tied up. And the possession arrow favors Whitney Young.
Apple Valley's going to have to put almost 5 shooters maybe behind the three-point line and not necessarily shoot the ball, but 5 guys behind the line to gap the zone. Tyus Jones has to get more involved in the offense.
Okafor, double and triple teamed all the time. They can't get it into him, but then the outlet pass is taken away. Reynolds to White, back to Reynolds. Can't get it to go.
But that's a good look, and it's a deep look into the paint.
It's going to stay down on this end. Timeout on the floor with 3:51 to go. A 7-point lead for Whitney Young. We're back here in Minnesota in a moment.
We all should do every day.
#1 is laugh. #2 is think.
#3 is you should have your emotions move to tears.
Think about it.
If you laugh, you think, and you cry,
that's a full day.
Cancer can take away all my physical abilities.
It cannot touch my mind.
It cannot touch my heart.
And it cannot touch my soul.
The Jimmy V Foundation for Cancer Research.
Its motto is,
don't give up. Don't ever give up.
The V Foundation for Cancer Research. To donate, go to jimmyv.org. And one of these days, we're going to whip that thing with the help of the Jimmy V Foundation.
I'll tell you what, our own Dick Vitale does an incredible job with his gala in May down in Sarasota. Raises $1 million in one night. You can find him on Twitter at Dick Vitale, at ESPN.com. Every year he's trying to beat cancer.
Whitney Young with a 7-point lead over Apple Valley. With 3:51 to go here in the first half. Duke fans getting a special look tonight at what the near future holds for Blue Devils basketball. Okafor and Jones headed there next year. Whitney Young, located in Chicago, founded in 1975, an enrollment of 2,200. Notable alumni, how about the First Lady, Michelle Obama, class of 1981?
Can't get any bigger than that.
No.
Unless, of course, it's Barack Obama.
That's right. The outside, Christensen hit there before, misses this time for Apple Valley. Loose ball tracked down momentarily for Okafor, had it taken away by Pipkins, and he finishes. He's got a big body too at 6'7".
Good job by Apple Valley. Following up the miss. That's what they're going to have to do against the zone defense. Great chance for second chance points against the zone.
Anthony Mosley in and out. Okafor stepped on the line. His size 17 shoes didn't help him there either. ESPN Films 30 for 30 presents Youngstown Boys, the story of one-time dynamic running back Maurice Claret and former elite head coach Jim Tressel. Both from Youngstown, came together to win the 2002 national championship, and then their careers took a downward spiral. 30 for 30 Saturday at 9 on ESPN. Tyus Jones from the free throw line over the outstretched arm of his future teammate. Doesn't go.
The few shots that he's taken have all been contested. So he's going to have to get behind the zone and move along the baseline where Whitney Young cannot find him so he can get an open jump shot.
That rattles home from the corner for Miles Reynolds. He's got 7.
He quietly gets it done for this Whitney Young team. They have 3 seniors, Paul White, Jahlil Okafor, and Miles Reynolds. That's why they're expected Whitney Young to have a great season this year. Last year, city champs in the Chicago Public School League.
Didn't win the state. This one is a turnover. Simeon knocked him out for the 3rd straight year, but you say that winning the Chicago Public Schools Championship is almost a bigger deal anyway.
Well, in some ways, you know, you get to brag within the framework of your city. Of course, you'd like to win both, and the state tournament is much bigger, but when you win your city championship, you get a lot of street cred.
There's Jones. He's 2 for 6 from the floor so far.
Don't forget, excuse me, that Simeon team had a guy by the name of Jabari Parker.
Jabari Parker, you bet. He's been having a good year for Duke. 22 points, 8 rebounds for the Blue Devils. His team is off tonight. Obviously, Coach K here in attendance. They host Gardner-Webb on ESPNU Monday night.
The team may be off, but the staff, they're always working. Jeff Capel and Coach K in the house. And Steve Wojciechowski's out recruiting somewhere.
Another 3 attempt for Reynolds.
See, that's what I mean by falling in love with and settling for the 3-point shot. With no shot clock, I'd like to see Whitney Young, probe that zone a little more.
Gary Trent Jr. cleaning up the garbage. And he's got 9.
When you miss 3-point shots, usually long rebounds, that's good for Tyus Jones. That's bad for Whitney Young. It's the best way to start a fast break.
Lead is 6 for Whitney Young, but they turn it over. Mosley gives it away. To Broxson, gives it right back. Mosley to Okafor, and another hammer dunk.
Give Anthony Mosley, 32 in the orange, a lot of credit for that hustle and energy to get the steal and then back to Okafor.
That's his 3rd dunk here in the first half.
That was contested as well. Jones cannot get an open look tonight so far. He may have to get a jump shot in transition where the defense is not set.
Spin move by Okafor, has it taken right away by Broxson. Jones contested again. But there is Bertram. He's got 6 points now. Okafor shaken up.
Yeah, he went down hard. He's trying to make a strong move to the basket. Looks like he slipped. And that's 6'10", 265, hitting the deck. The spin. Looks like he stepped on an ankle. And he went down hard. It sounded hard, and it felt hard. Staying in the game, though.
Yeah, and that's what he does. Tyrone Slaughter rarely takes him out.
He's not going to get babied anymore. I mean, if you're hurt, you're going to come out. If you're not, you got to stay in.
Each team with 9 turnovers as we're in the final 30 seconds of the first half. Again, 2 18-minute halves in Minnesota State high school basketball. And no shot clock here in Minnesota as Whitney Young can hold for the last shot.
It's going to be important for Apple Valley on the shot to block out to make sure Whitney Young doesn't get an offensive rebound putback.
Mosley, 5 to shoot. Reynolds to the corner. Henry for 3, got it. And that's how the first half comes to an end. Erwin Henry with 11 points in the first half, 3 3-point baskets. And it's a 38-29 lead for Whitney Young at the break. Okafor shaken up late in the first half. He has 9 points. There's that last shot.
Well, that's excellent execution against the zone. They hide Henry to the corner. They find him. And you take that shot in 3 seconds or less. You go right to half. Whitney Young looking strong on the road. Up 9.
Tyus Jones with 4. Downtown Minneapolis on the banks of the mighty Mississippi, just up the road from where we are here in Apple Valley, alongside Paul Biancardi. I'm Clay Advocate. Paul, the ESPN 100 class of 2014 is impressive. We're seeing 2 of the stars here tonight. Take us through that top 5.
Well, the #1 player in the nation, Jahlil Okafor, a true low-post center with outstanding hands and footwork. He owns all the tools to dominate the game inside the paint. Miles Turner, 6'11", an elite shot blocker who changes the game both on offense and defense. From an offensive standpoint, he can make jump shots out to the 3-point line. Power forward, Cliff Alexander. He loves to play the game at the rim. The class best rebounder, Alexander is all about strength, power, and explosiveness as one of the nation's best finishers. The #1 point guard in the class, Tyus Jones. He makes the game easy for his teammates with his decision-making ability and his unselfishness. When it comes time to score the basketball, Jones can do that. Emmanuel Mudiay, a combination of strength and power at the point guard position. He loves to get a piece of the paint on his dribble penetration and can finish with body control and strength in the lane.
And here is that top 10 and anyone else that stands out.
When you look at 6 through 10, any one of those guys could finish into the top 10 somewhere. Kelly Oubre, I think, is going to make a move. Athleticism and skills, he stands at number 10 right now.
Along with Duke, Kansas, and Kentucky, each getting 2 of the top 10. And we're going to talk about the top recruiting classes for 2014 on the other side of this break when we come back to Apple Valley, Minnesota. And Whitney Young and Tyus Jones in Apple Valley here at the half in Minnesota. Alongside Paul Biancardi, ESPN's National Recruiting Director, I'm Clay Advocate. Take us through the top recruiting classes in the country.
Well, #1 is the Duke Blue Devils. They landed 2 of the best players in the most important positions. Center Jahlil Okafor and point guard Tyus Jones. Justice Winslow is going to bring them some athletic ability and versatility. #2, Kentucky Wildcats, a very skilled class. Devin Booker is the best 3-point shooter in the nation. He'll lead them from the outside. #3, the Ohio State Buckeyes, and D'Angelo Russell, a dynamic scoring guard who also could be a playmaker. Jashawn Tate, one of the toughest guys in the class of 2014. #4, the North Carolina Tar Heels, led by Justin Jackson. He has the best mid-range game in the high school game. Joel Berry will be the leader for this team in the future.
And tonight we're seeing the future of Duke basketball with Okafor and Jones. We've seen a lot of them in the first half. Plenty of highlights and all the stats when we come back to Minnesota. You're watching the Geico ESPN High School Showcase from Apple Valley, Minnesota, just down the road from St. Paul Cathedral here in the Twin Cities. 38-29, Whitney Young from outside of Chicago with a 38-29 lead over Apple Valley, Minnesota, as we get ready to start the second half. Alongside ESPN Director of Recruiting Paul Biancardi, I'm Clay Matvick. Your impressions from the first 18 minutes?
It's been a high level of intensity, but the game has been sloppy to some degree.
Yep.
Both teams have a lot of turnovers. Okafor and White have been very good for Whitney Young. Tyus Jones needs more looks at the basket.
Both teams near double digits in turnovers in the first half. Okafor for Whitney Young with 9 points in the first half.
He's been very effective posting up against the zone. Anytime he can get close to the basket, he can score. A 7'5" wingspan to block shots. This possession, he's just hanging around, gets an easy dunk. For Apple Valley, Tyus Jones. It hasn't been easy for him tonight, but he's laid it out on the defensive end, getting some steals. He's turned a couple into points. Hasn't got many clean looks at the basket. Every shot's been contested. Right there, you can see some body control and strength to finish that shot.
He was 2 of 8 from the field with a total of 4 points. Here, the first half stats presented by Geico. And Whitney Young shooting 57% from the field, 50% from 3. And 3 blocks. Of course, Okafor doing the honors. So Okafor with 9 points. Tyus Jones just 4 in the first half. Those are our stars that we're watching here tonight. And here's the update on our 2 future Duke Blue Devils.
Well, it's not all about points for Tyus Jones. He can impact the game in other ways with his assists, steals. He's got to get more involved, though, in the offense. What he'll do is if he needs to score for his team, he can do that. He's averaging over 30 points a game right now for Apple Valley, so he can put the ball in the basket with the 3-point shot or the runners in the lane.
Yeah, he had 38 points against Minnetonka last month. Just an update on some of the key rule differences. Playing 2 18-minute halves here tonight. There is no shot clock in the state of Minnesota. And when we were talking with Tyrone Slaughter, the head coach of Whitney Young, he said that the difference in halves compared to the quarters is going to be something he's going to have to think about tonight as he coaches this game.
Well, he doesn't have an opportunity in between quarters, you know, for a timeout or to substitute.
Right.
And the game's a little bit longer, being 36 minutes versus 32 minutes.
There's Coach Mike Krzyzewski in attendance tonight. What a job he and his assistants did in landing the #1 recruiting class in the country. Okafor and Jones in that class.
Let's talk about Justice Winslow for a minute. The versatility and the athletic ability at the small forward position. He's going to be a great switch defender for Duke. And Grayson Allen doesn't get talked about enough. Top 24 player in the nation, athletic driver, and can shoot the basketball. That class has a little bit of everything, and they're still going after the #2 player in the nation, Miles Turner.
That's going to be an over and back call on Apple Valley, so they give it right away. Okafor, Jones, and Winslow, by the way, played together for Team USA at the 2012 Under-17 World Championships. So they've already got a chemistry going into 2014.
You know, they have an on-court and off-the-court chemistry, and anybody who'll tell you who coached, chemistry is a big part of winning.
3-point attempt for Irwin. Henry, who hit 3 in the first half, rolls off.
It's important that guys like each other off the court. They get along. This way they'll trust each other and care about each other on the court.
2 Apple Valley turnovers right away here in the opening 30 seconds.
When you see teams with a lot of talent not win, it's because they don't have team chemistry.
Again, Okafor and Jones have known each other since they were in the 3rd grade. I'm sure that'll manifest itself quickly in the chemistry of Duke as Jones is fouled, and that is the first team foul on Whitney Young here tonight.
Wasn't a good post feed by Irwin Henry. You got to bring the ball to the post player. You got to bring the ball to the defender, I'm sorry, to feed the post. You want to throw it up high, but you got to throw it in a place so you can catch it.
There's Tyus Jones at the line, a 91% foul shooter. He's got 5 points now.
In the state championship game last year, which Apple Valley won, Tyus Jones went 20 for 20 from the free throw line. The closer.
And he hits them both here. And Apple Valley is within 7.
If the game can go up and down, that can get Tyus Jones more involved in the game from a scoring standpoint.
Well, there were a lot of Minnesota Gopher fans who thought once Richard Pitino got the job here at the U of M that he might be able to turn the trick and land. Tyus Jones wasn't able to happen.
I think if Richard Pitino had more time, he came in so late to the process.
From the corner.
He's going to do a great job at Minnesota, brings a lot of energy. Got his feet wet at Florida International as a head coach.
Sure like Paul White. He's smooth.
I like him when he's dialed in, and he gives a great effort. You saw the mid-range game. He's got a long-range game. He's a facilitator, a ball handler.
Coming back from a broken arm suffered in July during AAU ball. He's got 10 points now. Bertram the up and under, no, and there's White with the rebound.
He can get a defensive rebound and go coast to coast. He can do a lot of great things for Georgetown in the future.
Reynolds hacked by Gary Trent Jr., and he is slow to get up.
Paul White, 13 in the orange, had 3 assists at the half. This is the hard drive. And if you want to get fouled, that's what you have to do. You have to drive hard to the basket. You can't look to avoid the contact. You almost have to seek it out, and that gets you to the free throw line.
That's where Reynolds finds himself. He shakes it off. He's got 7 points, make it 8. He turned down an offer from Iowa. And Arizona Dayton were also interested, but he is headed to St. Louis.
Jim Cruz won 28 games last year for the Billikens. Got to the 3rd round of the NCAA tournament. Just an outstanding job to carry the tradition of Rick Majerus.
42-31, Whitney Young in the orange uniforms on top. There is Tyus Jones. That is his 3rd field goal tonight. He's got 8 points now.
It's a great place to put him against the zone. Put him in the middle, flash him from the weak side. He can drive it or shoot it from the middle.
Reynolds tracks it down, keeps it alive for White. Quick pass, deflected out of bounds, and it'll stay on this end with Whitney Young.
I think if you're Apple Valley, you have to move Tyus Jones around. The middle, the wing, the baseline, the corner. You cannot keep him in the same place the whole possession.
35-game winning streak for the Eagles of Apple Valley on the line here tonight. They're down in this game. They're going to get the basketball back as Reynolds can't keep it in bounds. A physical contest at times, Coach.
Well, the big fella, Bertram, he's holding his ground. I'm sure Coach Goring at halftime talked about, look, the other team's scoring too easy. We cannot just give them layups and open shots. So being a little more physical is not what Apple Valley does, but they're going to have to do that tonight to beat Whitney Young.
Bertram goes out. Cal, Creighton, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin among the teams already interested in the 6'11 sophomore from Apple Valley.
He's got good hands, solid footwork, and offensive fundamentals. He just has to get stronger and understand how to use his body when he's close to the basket.
Gary Trent Jr., his 3-ball, no good. Okafor the rebound.
How about that rebound?
And quickly turns it up the floor.
As soon as his hands touch the basketball, he should own that possession.
Trey Jones, the 8th grade younger brother of Tyus Jones, in the game for the first time. He's number 3 in white. Splitting the double team, Mosley goes right to the 10 and scores.
I like the patience and the ball reversal by Whitney Young. Good job of attacking the zone.
Here's Trey Jones. He's played in every game this year. I believe he's a future D1 prospect.
Good bloodlines, right?
Pressure, too, I would think, being the younger brother of Tyus. Here's Dennis Austin. No. Okafor, another rebound. And look at that, palming the ball to keep it away with that 7'5" wingspan.
And a lot of teams play zone, but when you're big, with wingspan and height and girth, it's hard to score again. That's why Syracuse is so successful. They recruit to that zone. The teams cannot see the rim.
Okafor can't control it. Here comes Tyus Jones. No. And White controls quickly ahead to Okafor in the 2-hand jam.
You know, the jam was nice, but I love the pass by Paul White, 13 in the orange, headed to Georgetown. His head is up, his eyes are up. Very unselfish play.
He's got 10 points now, 4 assists. And that was a pretty one to Okafor. Baseline jumper is good for Pipkins. I'm going to timeout with 13:27 to go here in the second half. It's a 46-35 lead for Whitney Young. That pass from White worth seeing again.
See Paul White, he looks up, one dribble, throw ahead. Fast break basketball at its best. And Okafor didn't even have to run the floor. He was kind of hanging out. He didn't get back on defense. But Paul White has done an excellent job with his court vision tonight.
ESPN treats you to a college hoops doubleheader on Saturday. First at 3:15, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish taking on Indiana. Then number 11 Kentucky against number 18 North Carolina. That comes your way at 5:15 Eastern on ESPN. Freshman focus, and you ranked these guys out of high school just a year ago. How is this group of four doing now?
I think they're performing quite well. When you look at that North Carolina-Kentucky game, that's going to be a game of size at the rim with Randall, Willie Cauley-Stein, Kennedy Meeks. I think Andrew Wiggins is doing well. I mean, he needs a good point guard to get him shots. He's trying to fit in. He's averaging 16 points a game. I think Jabari Parker is outstanding. 46% from threes, though his last 3 games he's 0 for 7. And he's really a difference maker because he can do so many things well on the floor. If he's not shooting well, Jabari Parker can still play well. You know, a lot of guys, Clay can't do that. They have to score to play well. Parker can play well no matter what.
We got a timeout here with an 11-point lead for Whitney Young. There is Okafor. He is closing in on another double-double. We're back in a moment. Back in Apple Valley, Minnesota, I'm Clay Mathick. He's Paul Biancardi, the Director of National Recruiting at ESPN. We're seeing 2 of the top 4 seniors in the country. Jahlil Okafor, the #1 player in the nation tonight.
Okafor is so good at holding his post position. He creates natural passing angles to the basket. And once he catches it in the paint, he's going to score and or get fouled. He has good vision for a big guy. When he catches the basketball, he's not looking to score right away. He surveys the defense, he sees the help collapsing down, and he knows everyone is in the middle. So what does he do? Spin baseline to score the basketball. Good job of reading the defense. And speaking of defense, Okafor is trying to work on his help defense, and by moving his feet, it will enhance his quickness to help his teammates, and he can be a difference maker at both ends of the floor.
11 points, 9 rebounds, closing in another double-double. His future coach, Mike Krzyzewski, in attendance here tonight. His counterpart, Tyus Jones, also headed to Duke, of course. They've been friends. Everyone says that was a package deal, that they were headed to the same school no matter what. Well, they both chose Duke last month. Is that a trend, Coach? Do we see that in the future, more of that?
I don't know. We saw it with the Miami Heat. Nice pass inside. We saw Bosch, Ray Allen, LeBron James get together before that. Pierce, Garnett, and Ray Allen. You know, guys like each other. They get along with each other. The thing about Tyus Jones and Jahlil Okafor, when they played USA basketball, they never lost a game together in Mexico and Lithuania. So they're used to winning. They make each other better, and they realize, almost like a business, that they need each other. So the plan was to go together, and Duke hit the jackpot.
#1 recruiting class in the country, as we talked about at halftime. There's a steal for Pipkins. And here comes Apple Valley down 9. And Jones is going to get to the free throw line.
Now, I know Okafor fell down in that possession, but he's got to get up and run back, and that's part of his conditioning. His body has changed tremendously over the years. But once the ball changes hands, you've got to sprint back on defense. You can't jog back.
I say that foul was on the floor. It was on Erwin Henry, and Apple Valley will inbound from underneath. There's some water on the floor. That's why the stoppage here. They're going to clean it up on the other end. Packed house here at Apple Valley High School.
And the students for Apple Valley are all standing right behind the team, just waiting to erupt.
Feels like Cameron Indoor a little bit, with the students standing and into it from the opening tip as Coach K looks on.
Right on cue.
There's Trey Jones, the younger brother of Tyus. Gets it into the hands of his older brother. Trey in 8th grade, getting a lot of floor time. Tyus has been starting since he was in 8th grade. Good rebound for Pipkins, and he draws the contact.
In a lot of states, in the 8th grade, you can play varsity. I know you can do that in Texas, you can do that in Minnesota, so guys get a chance to play 5 years of high school basketball if they're good enough as an 8th grader.
Do you like that? You like that rule?
I would have loved to have done it. I do like it. I think if you're physically gifted enough and talented enough, it's an opportunity for a few guys to do it. It's not for everybody.
Tyus Jones, nice pass to Pipkins. Can't get it to go, and he was contested by Okafor the whole way. Now Okafor running the floor. Good night. What an authoritative dunk.
Jahlil Okafor, when he moves his feet, it's a pretty fast big guy. And in the open floor, nobody's going to stand in front of him. And the defense was not back. Gary Trent Jr. with a little push on the hip.
That is 270 pounds coming down the lane. He's fouled by Gary Trent, who's got 3 personals now. And you said it before as he misses the free throw. That is a very muscular 270 now since he's got himself into better shape.
Yeah, he's much more tight and toned. Before he was fleshy. Carrying extra weight. His percentage of body fat has gone down. His conditioning has gone up. His nutritional habits have changed. Great job by Apple Valley, rolling Tyus Jones down the post for the layup.
He had 4 at halftime. Now he's in double figures. He's starting to come alive on the score sheet. You said it before. When he feels the need to, he can take the team over offensively.
I've seen him close so many games in different ways, whether it's three-point shooting, transition, or just trying to find his open teammates to get a shot. You know, Tyus Jones controls the action.
And there's Trey Jones forcing the turnover. The 8th grader drawing the foul, too.
8th grade, aren't you supposed to be in bed at this time if you're in the 8th grade? I mean, he's playing varsity basketball on ESPN2. Give it up for Trey Jones. It's past his bedtime, but he got a steal. And he's happy about it.
Foul on Reynolds, team's 4th. There's been a lot of whistles tonight. Nice to see. Loose, and this is going to belong to the Dolphins of Whitney Young.
Now, they've made that pass a few times, Apple Valley. Trey Pipkins trying to hit Jones down the post, rolling. It's not automatic. If it's not there, you got to skip it to the other side of the floor. Little 1-2-2 pressure by Apple Valley.
Henry goes down to the deck hard, and he was tied up by the 8th grader again. I believe that was Trey Jones who tied him up.
1-2-2 pressure. The attack, Trey Jones, you know, he's small, so he can get low and get his hands in there. Caused the tie-up. It's been a catalyst for this Apple Valley team. Sometimes it just takes one guy to make a big play to get the rest of the team involved.
Again, they think that he is going to get Division I attention down the line. Maybe not to the degree that his older brother is and has. I think he's got a great future, too. Backside rebound, Erwin Henry. Here is Paul White. And White is fouled. It's going to go against Dennis Austin, his 2nd.
Almost every time Whitney Young has attacked and been patient in getting the ball in the paint, whether it's for a score, a touch, or a ball reversal, they've had a lot of positive things happen. Scoring, getting fouled, going to the free throw line. I love the versatility in Paul White's game.
Now he is headed to Georgetown. He is going to be there with L.J. Leak, who played 1 year with Whitney Young last season before transferring back to his home state of South Carolina. Imagine if he were here. I mean, how good this team is. I mean, it's still a dynamite team, one of the best in the country. But they lost L.J. Leak as he goes back to the Palmetto stick.
And Georgetown also has a young man by the name of Isaac Copeland coming in. 6'9", full of upside.
Long rebound. Kept alive by Apple Valley. Bertram, the left-hand hook. No. Okafor climbs up to get the rebound. He doesn't have to climb very high at 6'11". Reynolds, he's got 9.
I love his game, Miles Reynolds, because he kind of tries to fit in, and at the right time he can turn it on, come up with a good defensive stand, make an open shot. There's the steal. Look at that by Miles Reynolds, right on cue. Got his hand in the passing lane.
.9:24 to go, second half. 12-point lead for Whitney Young. They've got the ball. Here's that Georgetown class. LJ Peak, there he is. We were talking about him. Number 58 on the ESPN 100. Number 15, small forward.
Isaac Copeland, he's 6'9". We know Paul White's 6'8". LJ Peak, 6'5". All those players have tremendous versatility. They can do different things on the floor. And they all have upside.
Okafor, and he's going to get back to the line.
It's a group of finesse players going to Georgetown. Fits right into John Thompson III's style of basketball. You know, to beat you with finesse and execution.
Dennis Austin now with 4 fouls for Apple Valley. He and Gary Trent Jr. the only players really tonight in any foul trouble. As Okafor knocks it down. He's 2 for 3 at the line.
Every time the game stops and Whitney Young gets to the foul line, they also get a chance to set that 2-3 zone up. And when they do that, Apple Valley, they've had some good looks, but they really haven't had any strong looks at the rim.
They just get a chance to take a breather because it's not as deep of a team as Apple Valley is. They don't go as deep, maybe 7-8 as compared to Apple Valley, who's running 9 or 10. Apple Valley 5-0 on a 35-game winning streak. There's Tyus Jones to lay it in for the Eagles, 53-41.
That's a great cut without the basketball by Tyus Jones.
He's got a dozen now. Whitney Young coming into this one 1-1 on the Young season, and a disappointing loss to St. John Bosco of California. Lost on a last-second 3 the other night.
By Daniel Hamilton, who's going to UConn. Miles Reynolds with the open 3.
It's a second 3 for Reynolds tonight. He's got 14. Turnaround. Kirksey, no. Here comes Okafor for the Dolphins of Whitney Young. Look at the big man dribbling. Handing off to Henry. And Tyus Jones starts it back for Apple Valley. And he's fouled coming up the floor.
Okafor showing a little bit of skill. Maybe Coach K's going to play him at the point. Tyus Jones with a sweet cut to the rim. Apple Valley trying to get back in it.
So look at downtown Minneapolis. Jimmy V Week for Cancer Research across the ESPN platforms. Go to jimmyv.org to donate. 56-41. Whitney Young of Illinois. Top of Apple Valley of Minnesota. Miles Reynolds, who's headed to SLU. He's been impressive tonight for Whitney Young, coach.
He's been the unsung hero. The ability to score with the drive. He moves well without the basketball. There's the cut to the basket. Jim Cruz is going to love that. And when you leave him open from the outside, 3 oranges for Whitney Young.
Here's our game track presented by Buick. Whitney Young was led by as many as 17 tonight, 56-41 right now, and all 5 starters have not left the floor tonight.
And they will not leave until the game is over. You don't want to relax against Apple Valley at home with Tyus Jones. He could change this game in a minute. They'll have to do it on the defensive end first, though. Get the game going up and down. It's got to become a high possession game in the last 8 minutes for Apple Valley to get back in the game.
Again, Whitney Young not used to playing 2 18-minute halves. They're used to the 4 8-minute quarter format. In fact, they didn't realize they were going to be in this format until yesterday afternoon. Done a good job adjusting as Apple Valley gets 2 more from Brock Bertram. He's got 8 now.
And you see after the score, Apple Valley, now they're picking up full court man-to-man, it looks like. Trying to change the tempo and the pace of the game. I like it by Coach Goring. Now, if you're Whitney Young, you don't want to play keep away and just hold the basketball. There's 7.5 minutes to go. You got to still look to execute and get good shots.
And that's what White does. He draws the contact. He'll get to the free throw line. And they could do that, Paul, if they wanted to. Again, there's no shot clock in Minnesota, but they're going to stay aggressive, you think?
Wouldn't that be awful, though, if Whitney Young just held this ball for the last 7.5 minutes and played keep away? I mean, that's not how the game of basketball was invented by Dr. James Naismith.
I would certainly feel cheated tonight. We came to see these star players, and we want to see a contest, and so far we have.
There's a better, if you have a shot clock in the high school game, it should be a universal shot clock, same time. It creates a better flow. Players get to handle and think more about the game. Coaches get to coach more, and the fans get to see a higher possession game, which is much more entertaining.
The reason, though, that we don't see it more, what we're hearing from administrators is that it's expensive to install that technology and to get people to run it.
There's no question there's an economic cost involved. It's a one-time cost. We have 8 states in the United States that have already done it.
ESPN brings you a primetime NBA doubleheader Friday night. First at 8, Kobe Bryant and the Lakers travel to Oklahoma City to take on Kevin Durant and the Thunder. Then at 10:30, Dwight Howard and the Rockets and Steph Curry and the Warriors. NBA Friday presented by State Farm. 7:22 to go, second half, 58-43. Whitney Young leading Apple Valley. Coach Mike Krzyzewski is here. There's Jeff Capel from the Duke coaching staff. What do you think has gone through their minds tonight as they've watched their 2 future stars?
Well, I think they're very impressed with these guys, not only just from tonight, but they've watched these guys all of last year in summer basketball. Tyus Jones and Okafor have won and been battle tested on every major level.
A foul on Apple Valley as you take a look at Coach K and Jeff Capel.
I've been really impressed with Duke's defense in the last 3 games. And they've won 2 of them. They beat Alabama and Michigan convincingly. They lost to Arizona in a close game, but their defense is back to the way it used to be with Coach K's elite teams. Now, it's not completely where it needs to be, but they're much more defensive minded. You know Duke can score the basketball. They just got to be committed to guarding the basketball.
Okafor now 4 of 6 at the foul line as you see the top classes. Duke right up there with Okafor and Jones, his 2 prize recruits.
When you look at Duke and North Carolina, you have 7 players within the top 25 coming right into the ACC. And don't forget about Louisville. They got a great class as well. That ACC is going to be bigger, stronger, and better than ever before next year.
You know, Coach K has never been a big proponent of that one-and-done approach for college students. But, you know, he may very well have guys coming in, as you see Jones knock it down for Apple Valley, who could be one-and-done guys.
Well, I think Okafor, has a very good chance to do that. This year he has Jabari Parker. Rodney Hood's a transfer, but 1 year with Coach K. Now, that's a compliment to your program if a guy can go into the NBA after 1 year. The hard part for the coach is you have to go replace those guys right away. Ask John Calipari about that.
Pass off the baseline to Kirksey. Can't get it to go. They keep it alive. There's Jones knifing in. No, and White with another rebound. You know, many think Duke is going to be the preseason #1 next fall, just based on that recruiting class we just showed you. 2 more for Whitney Young.
This is the pace that Apple Valley wants right now. They're going to have to shoot quick, but they can't rush.
Kirksey, his first field goal. 6 minutes to go.
And if Apple Valley has any chance at all to come back, it's going to have to be on their defense. They're going to have to make stops and get out in transition.
White, nice backdoor cut for Erwin Henry, and he's fouled.
That was Tyus Jones off the ball, falling asleep. That's a big area of his game that he has to change. His on-the-ball defense and his off-the-ball defense. Tyus Jones has to tighten that up next year.
Pimkins with the personal, his second. All right, so that's maybe a hole you can poke in Jones's game. What about Okafor? Does he have any out-and-out shortfalls?
Well, first of all, I think he has to stay in top-level physical condition. That has to be a priority for him, so he's able to run the floor. Okafor get out on ball screen defense, and he's got to keep himself in the game and not commit any foolish fouls. Now tonight he's done a nice job of keeping himself in the game.
Yeah, no personal so far.
But I've seen him, and our staff has seen him over the years, sometimes get in foul trouble early, and that just takes him right out of the game. And now the zone has been a big part of him not being in foul trouble. But when you go to Duke next year, it's going to be all man-to-man.
Long rebound to Okafor. Baseball pass to Reynolds. Had it blocked from behind by Tyus Jones. And here he comes. Takes it himself, and he'll get to the line.
Great job by Tyus Jones on the defensive end. He's terrific in anticipation. Comes down with the swipe, the block, and he can turn a defensive possession into offense as quickly and as efficiently as anyone in the nation.
And he's got 15 points now. He only had 4 at the half as Zach Goring, his head coach, looks on.
Now, if you're Whitney Young, you're going to have to take care of the basketball. Expect pressure after the made free throw and get to your press offensive spots. And here comes Apple Valley. They're getting up on the ball.
.5:20 to go. Here's White, 2-on-1. Alley-oop, Okafor with the stuff.
I give credit to Tyrone Slaughter for that. They worked on their press offense today at shoot-around, and that was textbook right there to throw over the top of the press and create 2-on-1 against Apple Valley.
It's 2 very impressive passes we've seen from White tonight, Paul.
And he's an outstanding passer. He's got good size and vision. Coach Slaughter had a very good shoot-around today, and I like the fact that he knew that the zone was coming and that pressure was coming, and he had his team well prepared for it in that last possession.
3 from Jones. Got it to go down. A 3-ball for Tyus Jones, his first tonight.
That's been a big improvement in his game, Tyus Jones. The ability to make outside shots.
Same play. White to Okafor.
Well, they got to the same spots in their press offense, and it's Paul White and Okafor 2-on-1.
A 3 for Jones and a chance at a 4-point play.
Just when Whitney Young looked like it was going to put Apple Valley away, here comes Tyus Jones. That gets the crowd into the game. The students could be a little bit vocal right now.
19 second-half points for Jones. 4.5 to go. Okafor and Jones showing off here in the last several moments. The future of Duke hoops, and here's a Whitney Young turnover as Apple Valley has gained a little momentum.
One of the ways big men turn it over is they get sped up in the post. That time, Okafor was going a little too fast.
Kirksey to Pipkins, can't get the close-in look to go.
He felt Okafor's presence that time, and I think he rushed it a little bit.
Timeout Whitney Young. Each team now with 2 remaining, 67-56. The team from Chicago on top of the team from Minnesota with 4:02 to go here in the ballgame. Tyus Jones, the last 9 points for Apple Valley. We've said it a couple of times. It's worth saying again. He's sensing that this team is needing him right now as this game is getting late. A deficit. He's taking them on their back.
Well, he gets his teammates involved, but when they're not scoring, Tyus Jones, he can score the basketball. That's close to an NBA three-point shot. And he got hit and had the focus to follow through and make it. We look at some of the nation's best point guards. Emmanuel Mudiay, big, strong, and physical, does a great job of getting into the paint and finding teammates. Joel Berry headed to North Carolina. I love him as a leader.
Tyus Jones, the #1 point guard in the country. What makes a good point guard?
Well, in my mind, the first thing is you have to eliminate emotional fogs. That means keep your head in the game. Tyus Jones has done that tonight. Be a good decision maker. Value the basketball. Value the possession. You want to see the game one pass ahead. That means you have to have vision. All the great point guards have vision. Don't be shot happy. That means don't shoot too much. And you have to know the time and the score to manage the game.
Some people are comparing him to Jason Kidd. Do you think that's fair?
You know, I've heard John Stockton, Jason Kidd, Chris Paul. He's got a little bit of everything.
White moves in for the short jumper.
And he's been nailing that short jumper all game long. And that's a difficult shot, especially on the baseline, because you can't see the backboard.
Long three. Rattles down for Gary Trent Jr., his second triple tonight. He's got 12 points now.
I'm not sure the freshman realized what he was doing in that possession just by taking that three. But sometimes when you don't know, there's no pressure.
10-point game. Mosley.
Nice skip pass. Nice one more. Good patience.
Again, no shot clock, so Whitney Young can be patient, leading by 10. 3 minutes to go.
That's the sign of an older team.
Okafor working the block. And draws the contact from Pipkins, his third personal. Just under 3 minutes to go. It's a 10-point game.
Well, he doesn't get a lot of dunks, but when he gets close to the rim, the big fella, #1 in the country, Okafor, knows how to finish.
Geico ESPN High School Basketball Showcase is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Really cold winter night here in Minnesota. Some might argue that they're all cold this time of year. 10-point game for Whitney Young here with 2:58 to go. What a great possession the last one was for the Dolphins.
If Whitney Young wins this game, it's going to be because of this possession, the patience to get the ball to Okafor, and when he threw it back out, he reposted Miles Reynolds, who's going to play for Jim Cruz at St. Louis, threw the ball back in the post, and it got Okafor to the line. It sets the defense. It eliminates Apple Valley from cutting into that lead.
Okafor, 21 points, 13 rebounds, so he's got the double-double here tonight. Ask Coach B, can Okafor and Jones lead Duke to a title next year as freshmen? What do you think?
I think they can. It's not only them, but it's Justice Winslow, Grayson Allen, and the returning players for Duke, Emil Jefferson, Quinn Cook. But you have two of the most important pieces on the court, and you have the two best players from high school coming to college next year. Okafor can dominate the game in the paint, and Jones can control the game from the point guard position. I'm going to say they can get them to a Final Four.
Well, they've already got the chemistry because they played together before at Team USA with success. They've got gold medals hanging around their neck to prove it.
We should have just asked Coach K. He's sitting right next to us. Could have been asked Coach K.
70-59 is Okafor now with 22 points.
That Duke team next year, whether Parker and Hood, probably going to go. I mean, Duke's not going to kick them out, but the NBA could be calling their name. They're going to have some veterans like Emil Jefferson and Cook. Suleiman will be an upperclassman. That reminds me a little bit of the Kentucky team that won the national championship. They had Darius Miller and some upperclassmen to come in with that great freshman class, and they won that national title in 2012.
Baseline jumper, no good for Gary Trent, kept alive by the Eagles of Apple Valley. And here's Tyus Jones coming away with it. What a second half he's had. Doesn't get that one to go. And now drawing the foul is Erwin Henry for Whitney Young.
And for Whitney Young, now you're going to be going to the free throw line the rest of the game. So you have to make all your free throws to close this game out.
And Erwin Henry. As you take a look at Tyus Jones, 19 second half points, 6 of 10 from the field after a 2 of 8 first half.
In the first half, a lot of those 8 shots were contested. It was hard for him to see the rim. He didn't get a lot of clean looks. Credit that zone defense by Whitney Young. Long and athletic. They took the vision away of Tyus Jones, and he couldn't see the rim. And
he got them both. Dennis Austin comes back in for Apple Valley with 2:34 to play here. 72-59 Whitney Young as Apple Valley 35-game win streak in jeopardy here of ending. Jones, nice pass, and he got it off to Pipkins. He'll go to the line for a three-point opportunity.
Tyus Jones is an outstanding passer in transition, but when there's traffic, a lot of bodies in the paint, he can still deliver the assist. And that's what makes him special, the ability to throw ahead in transition, find the open man in traffic. He knows where he is on the floor, and he knows where everybody else is on the floor, and he knows how to get them the basketball, his open teammates. Now it's man-to-man pressure by Apple Valley. They got out of that 1-2-2, three-quarter court press.
Job by Mosley to play keep away.
Almost 5 seconds.
But he does end up turning it over, stolen by Austin. Here comes Apple Valley, a chance to cut it to a single-digit deficit. Jones going right in on Okafor, and the foul is on Jahlil Okafor.
I like the moxie by Jones to bring it to the big fella, his future teammate, Jahlil Okafor.
First foul on Okafor tonight. He and Jones, they talk almost every day, whether it be on the phone or via texting. Great friends.
Oh, via Twitter nowadays,
right.
Too.
Even 2 minutes to go. It's a single-digit deficit now as Apple Valley has clawed back in after being down 17.
Those two free throws didn't even touch the rim.
He's got 25 now. He's a 91% foul shooter. And we've got a timeout here called by Tyrone Slaughter and Whitney Young with 2 minutes to play.
Right now, if you're Whitney Young, you're going to have to cut and screen to get open. And your best inbounder, you better be able to trust him not to throw the basketball away. If you're Apple Valley, you're denying the basketball everywhere, trying to get a 5-second count, a steal, and then a quick trap.
Next Thursday, 9:30 Eastern on ESPN, Huntington Prep and Arsenal Prep. Perkins versus Lyles.
Josh Perkins, an outstanding point guard. A great passing point guard, penetration. And Trey Lyles, maybe the best power forward in the nation at scoring against the set defense. When you get him the ball, he can score even though the defense is set. You know, a lot of guys can score in transition or off of dump downs. Trey Lyles, he can do it with a defender on him.
There's Tyus Jones. He's got 6 points over this Apple Valley run, which is now a 12-5 run over the last few minutes.
They're going to have to make a quick trap or foul. They just can't play straight man.
Miles Reynolds to Okafor. Here's Reynolds, makes a move on the baseline, dish pass, and White with the layup.
Beautiful pass by Reynolds. White with the cut to the basket. That puts Whitney Young back up 10.
But then answering back with a three is Jones.
Now the clock is the enemy for Apple Valley. They can't do what they did last possession.
74-67.
They're going to have to trap the basketball or foul somebody right away to stop the clock. Coach Goring yelling out for a foul. Get Okafor right now.
Okafor double team, they don't foul. Reynolds now is fouled, and he's a good foul shooter.
Yeah, you have Okafor on the block. Foul him. I mean, he's been up and down, better as of late, but always foul the big guys if you can.
Apple Valley within 7 with a minute to go. They were down 17 at one point here in the second half. Big make for Reynolds. Reynolds now with 15 points, again headed to St. Louis next year.
Apple Valley can't wait right now. They're just going to have to attack, penetration, and kick. Get to the rim or kick it out for a shot.
Tyus Jones bumped, doesn't get the shot to foul.
It's hard to keep Jones out of the lane. He's small, he's quick, and he beats the defense, not just with a quick first step, but a low shoulder. And then when he gets in there, he has good body control.
Coming up next, 30 for 30, Bernie and Ernie, an encore presentation presented by Buick. Tyus Jones had 4 points at halftime. 25 here in the second half. A rare miss.
Foul Okafor right there, right on the rebound.
Precious seconds ticking away for Apple Valley. Mosley quickly brings it back on the perimeter. Now he's hit by Jones.
Apple Valley wasted some time. If you're going to foul, do it in the backcourt.
So an 8-point deficit for Apple Valley. There's head coach Zach Goring, his team's 35-game winning streak going back to last December. In jeopardy of coming to an end here tonight.
They've beaten some really good teams, Apple Valley, in the last week. De La Salle High School.
Hopkins Tuesday night, State Power.
Now, De La Salle didn't have Reed Travis, who's going to Stanford, but that's still a great win.
Apple Valley 39 points this half. Tyus Jones 25 of them. He has kept his Eagles in this game, but right now they've got an uphill climb. Down 10, 42 seconds to go. Here is Jones, good pass. Christensen tied up and fouled. So Christensen goes to the free throw line for the Eagles.
Yeah, that looked like a clean block upstairs. Looks like he got hit with the body downstairs. There's Jones. Look at the vision. Yeah, he got hit underneath the block upstairs by Paul White saying, I got him clean. You did, Paul, but your teammate hit him underneath. The ability of Jones to get into the lane and know where everyone is on the floor and still deliver the assist. Very few have that type of vision.
Apple Valley has shot well from the line, 11 of 12 here tonight. 38 seconds to go. They get it in the hands of Paul White. White quickly to Reynolds, and Reynolds is fouled again.
This is a good teaching moment for Apple Valley. When they look at the tape, they'll see that they could have and should have fouled more in the backcourt on the rebound, as opposed to letting Whitney Young bring the ball up the floor and run off time off the clock. Coach Goring will take care of that in film session tomorrow.
Good young coach. 1995 Apple Valley grad, was a his point guard in his own right, played at St. Cloud State here in Minnesota.
He holds the most assists, Coach Goring, in one game at 19, and in a season with 285.
He said that Tyus could probably break that if he wanted to, but he's got so many other responsibilities, he's not concentrating on that. There's Gary Trent Jr., had a great first half, a little quieter here in the second half. And that ball is kicked with 21.8 seconds to go. 10-point game. Whitney Young trying to get out of Minnesota with a win.
Here's the Shack of the Mac. Gary Trent was an outstanding player at Ohio University in the mid-90s. Finished his career right here at the Minnesota Timberwolves.
And Gary Trent Jr., said it before, he is 6'3" already as a freshman, has size 14 feet. They think he is going to grow a few more inches, put on more weight, just like his dad, his real presence.
His dad was a 3-time player of the year in the MAC, 93, 94, 95. I talked to him yesterday, Gary Sr. He's hard on his son, both academically and athletically. He doesn't let anything slip.
So Whitney Young, led by the 3 Division I bound seniors. Looks pretty good for the Dolphins here tonight, as you see Gary Trent Sr. on the left, Gary Trent Jr. on the right for Apple Valley.
Now Sr., more of a post player. Jr., more of a outside threat.
For now, until he grows into that frame.
I think we learned a lot about Jahlil Okafor tonight. His body has changed. See how he dominates the game inside. He's still got to be more alert and active on the defensive end. But without question, the #1 player in the country right now.
And Apple Valley is going to call the dogs off. That's going to do it. A 10-point win for Whitney Young out of Chicago. The 35-game winning streak for Apple Valley is over. Jahlil Okafor and the Dolphins with a big win here tonight, although Tyus Jones played very well for Apple Valley.
He had a tremendous second half. Tyus Jones scoring 25 of the 39 points for Apple Valley. But Whitney Young was too big, too strong, and that zone was the difference tonight. Jahlil Okafor, Paul White, Miles Reynolds.
Okafor 22 points, Tyus Jones 29. The future of Duke basketball, we saw it here tonight. 80-70 the final. For Paul Biancardi, I'm Clay Matvick. So long from Apple Valley, Minnesota.